Welcome back. Amish Matchmakers here. We help Amish singles to find godly spouses, create epic marriages, and develop a legacy rooted in faith and freedom. So good to be back with my bride, my queen. So here we go. Cheers. Coffee. We're a slow start today.
I did not want to get out of bed today.
Yes, that's real. I get it. Me too. It's like, well, it's Christmas Eve. It's a good excuse to stay in bed. It is. Sleep in. And, it's holiday, right? Well, kind of, sort of. We're going to be doing some things today and doing family, taking off this afternoon. Some time with our kids. Tonight will be a Christmas Eve dinner.
Yeah. Lots to do.
Yes. Some preparation. And we don't often do tree. We don't do trees every year or even gifts every year. Just depends this year.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking a little bit about we are Carlos and Chantel. By the way, if this is the first time you're seeing us, or thanks for being here. Thanks for saying hello. Those of you that are on here, we know we're live. So if you want to say hi and where you're watching from, that would be cool. Where you're joining us from, what country, what state. It's always fascinating to see where people are joining us from. But I was talking a little bit about, I got a little bit emotional, of course, about this being the first Christmas without Dad, Phil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Remembering back even, because you're staying with Mom here in Georgia and I'm headed to Mexico to the orphanage, but even remembering how Dad and Mom went with us. Phil and Marlise went with us to the orphanage one year. It's the second year, first year, second year.
Oh, they never went to the orphanage with us. They were in Mexico.
Is that the first year
Yeah,
when
but
we discovered the orphanage?
yeah, they had already gone back
Okay.
home to California when we found the orphanage.
Casa de Hogar. Did I say it right?
Monte Horeb.
Oh, yeah, it's a long name. Casa de Hogar Monte Horeb. Yes. Choita and Lupe. Lupe and Choita. An orphanage in the Baja California area in the inland in the wine country.
Valle de Guadalupe.
So, anyways, just how it's going to be different Christmas for Mom. So, you sticking around here, and yet I really do feel passionate and excited about seeing Joyita and Lupe and the kids, the boys this year. I'll be tuning in live, doing some live while I'm there as well. But Chantel will be with Mama. It is gonna be strange without Dad. And I know we don't really spend Christmas with Mom and Dad because we're usually in Mexico. But still, that's tough for Mom. First time in how long were they married?
30 years.
30 years.
Mm-hmm. More than that. 32 or something.
Wow.
Yeah. Thanksgiving was rough, and Mom pretty well isolated and didn't really want to spend time with people or and so that was the deal. I said, if I'm staying home, you're gonna hang out. It was kind of a conversation, and she really did desire for me to stay.
Yeah, that was sweet.
And so we're just gonna spend time together.
Yeah.
Enjoy each other and play games and maybe do a Mamma Mia marathon. My mom
Movie day. Movie.
loves Mamma Mia. And so
Well, it's appropriate to kind of bring up Dad, Phil, because we were talking about the ox today. So I would love for you to share your stories about Dad in honor of the ox. We know that he was a very routine person. Everything he had would become a routine and a system, right? And it's interesting how the ox personality does that. That's their safe place, even is the routines and the system. So yeah, but yet he was such an awesome father, such a caring, committed father. So I thought that would be appropriate to talk about.
Yeah,
Phil.
I mean, from the beginning, I was, a teenager. I was an angry teenager because my biological dad had left when Phil came into my life, and I got my license, got my first car, and he made sure that I had a toolbox in my trunk that had anything that I would need to either change a tire or, you know what I
You
mean?
were prepared.
I was prepared. It was organized. It was there. And, I mean, that was like probably my first like real memory of like just how he was gonna take care of everything.
Yeah, that's how his brain worked. Yeah.
How his brain worked. And, you know, he yeah, it was amazing. I mean, and it's true, like he had a very big, tender heart. And, you would see, it's funny, his last name is Angermeyer. If names don't matter, it's so funny because his familial patterns from like his family, they talked about they had this anger, like this personality all of the Angermeyers have that can be really strong and intense and come across very angry, right? And but with Dad, the only time I ever felt that rise up, that intensity, was when his routine was messed up or his system was challenged, or you know what I mean? And that's when you started to feel that and it never was like all out angry. I mean, yeah, he had his moments, but it was more of that like um yeah, almost like his identity was being challenged.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it was
the ox.
it's so hard for once, that mode is going, really hard to be flexible for somebody. And, they talk about people on the spectrum or, you know what I mean, who have a little bit of like Asperger's, you know, there was always talk that Dad had some of that, which makes it even more intense sometimes.
Yes.
When people are in their routines and such. I wonder if her chewing that bone is loud.
Nova, our dog, isn't here. She has FOMO if we don't let her into the studio here while we're doing her videos. So sorry if you can hear her chewing on the bone. I don't know, maybe it's not coming through. But yeah, so family tradition with Phil and Marlise, mom and dad, your mom and dad to you for many years. So the traditions more were centered around just our family routines with him and mom, Tuesdays with mom and dad, trading off date night. And dad I was sharing too, just the experience we had here on the ranch with him the last 4 years, right? They got here in 2021. Is that right?
Yeah.
And we came to Georgia in 2020. 2021, they came, and his system he created and how he watered, how he fed the animals. And
did you tell him about that getting a lazy person to to do it.
Because they always figure out the most efficient way, yeah, the best way.
I mean, when we first got the ranch, I was taking care of the animals with, I had a big uh, a water container, and we had this little pump, and I enjoyed the time it took. Right, that was my kind of time of connection with the cows. We had bottle fed the cows, and so when I'd go out and water the animals, I would just love on them and spend that time. And of course, our business didn't require that much of me, so I was really really heavily on the ranch. And then when Dad came, he just was not satisfied with our system. He had to, I mean, I think it was probably 3 or 4 months that he researched, bought parts, tried one way. I mean, any way that he could to get it the most efficient, he was going to make it happen. And now, you know, what he set up, water's so quick. It's wild, and it's funny how I personally miss the time of the good old days when it took forever to water the animals. But that was a season, and obviously with things picking up, and it's really, it's brilliant the way that he's done it. But man, when he gets his sights set on something, it's it's kind of like a pit bull.
Yeah, that's why they're called pit bulls.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
it is.
The ox, the bull.
Absolutely. It's like, that focus is going all in, and they won't stop until it's
earlier
done.
Sheila made that statement too, that what is it, bullheaded. People say it's bullheaded. You're headstrong, you're bullheaded, or you're
hard-headed.
Well, yeah, but the bullheaded thing was pretty cool. I hadn't heard that in a while, but it's true that is one of the sayings, to be stubborn as an ox too, right? Or something like that too. Like, it is an interesting thought how ox represents the father that just is so stubborn that won't.
Yeah. And it's so funny because when I talk about, being challenged, right? The system, or that was another aspect of that bullheadedness, right? That stubborn was like, if there was a conversation that, was maybe, because feeding the animals, at times he would overfeed them, right? And so I can't even count how many conversations I've had with them.
He's just gonna do it anyways.
It is almost as if he'd never heard me. And in the response, if he did hear me, was, well, then I don't need to do it. So it's like, very much a my way or the highway type mentality that is that can happen. When we're really locked into that mode.
Right.
And we all can get there.
Sure.
It's just, recognizing, especially, somebody who does operate a little bit on the spectrum, how hyper focused and intense one can get.
Yeah.
In that mode.
Yeah.
In the trash.
Yeah. Tell the stories of that, like even with Mom and how what she would do, and you and Mom would always, because that was a thing for 30 years. He's been doing that, and we found out why. We finally asked why, and he told us, shared with us.
So my dad had an obsession with trash, taking the trash out. It's his thing. Mm-hmm. He's a very avid recycler. So, he did all the research to know, in whatever county he was in, what the recycling, practices are, and what they take, and all of those things. And so, he would literally go through the trash, the recycling, to make sure that it was all up to par. So, the years that they lived with us, we didn't take out the trash at all. We didn't have to. That was Dad's thing every morning. He would go through all the bathrooms. I mean,
Yeah.
you're talking, and it used to be a joke, in our family. Like my sister used to go around and, like, if she was upset at him, she would go around and put trash in all, like tissues in all of the trash cans, and you know, um, his best friend also did stuff. Like, it's one of those things that, like, you could really use against him.
And just to see if he would clean it too, like every day. He was consistent. Yeah.
But yeah, and then so then when my sister and my brother-in-law moved here, and they were like, didn't care about the recycling, didn't want to, and just would throw stuff all over the place. Dad would, like, send us emails with all of the different regulations, and it was that intense.
But why was he that way? What's interesting how he explained what
Yeah, they finally
that was
got into
about.
it one time, and with a lack of understanding, right? And this is where, relationship wise, the pursuit of understanding is so important,
Yeah.
right? My sister would just get frustrated, like it didn't matter to her, right? And Dad was bullheaded and staunch on it, and he finally, because they had had an interaction that was kind of ugly, and feelings got hurt. And my dad, as sensitive as he is, as bullheaded he is, he's very sensitive and very, just loves amazing. He loves so well. And he finally opened up and talked about how, for him, on a spiritual level,
Yeah.
taking out the trash was a cleansing. It just like showering. Like, it really, it did something for his mind, his spirit. He attached trash to a physical act. We talk about coping mechanisms. We talk about, changing your state, those kind of things. And for Dad, that was one of them.
Yeah.
That was a really profound way that he moved through his shit, was to take out the trash. That brought him peace.
So good. So true.
And so, when we understand people's why behind their behavior, it gives us a glimpse and a better understanding, not only understanding, but a better level of compassion and empathy. And therefore, that we can be a little bit more considerate
So true.
to
Empathy.
to people and their mode of operation and their why behind it, right? So,
So true. So good.
oh, pretty girl, isn't she pretty?
I guess she wanted to join us.
Gone all day yesterday, so she's feeling a little bit needy. Little needy.
So funny.
Yeah, I love you.
The ox is a very powerful, and it's a discipline. We talk about that, how we can all learn to have that discipline. It's interesting. I would say it's kind of like interesting when people get married and they find that the very thing that they enjoyed and appreciated about that person they married sometimes becomes that thing that irritates them, right? They appreciate the consistency, the faithfulness, the commitment of
Mhm.
Opie, and even that example that mom over the years would be like, why do you get so obsessed about this stuff? Um, but during that time, even there's so many blessings. Now she wants that again, and now that he's gone, she's like, oh, I miss that about him. And
Well, you always hear that too, right? The, like you said, the things that drive you nuts about your spouse, the is the biggest thing that you miss when they're gone.
Yeah.
So, are you having gratitude in the midst of even that frustration? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. And again, even going to that, talking about the faces, right, and personalities and strengths of those faces. We see like the opposites are eagle and ox. Really, the ox is the grounded one, the systems, the strategy, and the eagle is the dreamer and the like visionary that just doesn't sometimes realize, oh, we've got to have these systems and these daily activities that lead us to the dream and the vision. They complement each other so much, and it's funny how we do see people that often will get married that one's a high visionary and the other one's more of the daily routine, the ox. And mom. They're a good example of that. Mom's such a dreamer, such a people person. Wants to be out with people. Like that's her big thing. It's like, hey, you want to go to lunch? She's like, yeah, I just want to go. You say go, and I'm there. And Dad was definitely a homebody, and like, well, I just got to work. I got to grind. And it's like, Dad, you don't even really have a job. You're just doing chores around the house. But even his nighttime routines and the things that he did, with the CPAP machine, all the ways that he had certain things he had to do.
Gosh.
Right? You can totally see the personality of the ox and Dad and how he is that way. He has his things.
Well,
people call it quirkiness, but it's real because it's quirky to them, but to him it was just like, this is my comfort, this is my thing, this is what I do. And
yeah, his mission for efficiency. But I think we've talked a lot about team, and that was one of the biggest and hardest things to feel, is that hole in the team.
Yeah, for sure.
Because of its constant, because of its steadfast.
Yeah.
Often doing whatever we needed him to so that we could continue to progress and move towards our goals. He was such a support for the vision.
Yes.
Right? Such a support for the family, and with all the so-called quirks, I wouldn't trade for the world.
Right. Agreed. Yep. 100%.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah. Yep. I had my moment too, and I didn't even know that I was gonna bring up Dad. So I started talking about the ox and the personality of the ox, and then I'm like, oh my goodness, yes, Dad is definitely a representation of that. And then a little bit of talking about Jesse as well, partnering, working with Jesse, and seeing his consistency and commitment. The thing that I love about Dad, and even like Jesse, when you talk about someone that ox is their one of their main strengths, strength that comes most natural to them. What I loved about Dad is and Jesse is how they will adapt though, and they will empower the other strengths. I remember Dad would go to sports events with us, and like that was not necessarily his thing to go out, right, and be with people, but he would do it. And then when he was there, people would love him. Like I remember some of the club volleyball practices he'd take Hazel to, and some of those people just fell in love with him. They're like, where's Phil? And oh my gosh, we love him. He's such a cool guy, And you'd be like, oh, you got to know him? And they'd be like, yeah, practices. He'd come and just hang out and sit and talk with us. So he would do those things, to really get out and connect with people in a powerful way.
I mean, he found so much purpose in the last few years here, with the ranch, and then when Hazel got a permit,
yeah,
we called him Goober, Grandpa Uber.
Yeah,
it really allowed us to do the work that we needed to do,
Yep.
and the ability for Hazel to go to practice and all of
Okay.
those things.
Took
So
her all over the
he
place.
took her all over the place, but she would drive, and he would coach her
Yeah.
driving. And man, what a gift!
Yeah,
right?
well, it's
To not
super
only
awesome.
have that time with him, we didn't know.
Yeah.
We had no idea that would be limited time, but she had that time with him, and just one-on-one time, and he would take her friends driving, and just was such an excellent teacher. And Hazel's a phenomenal driver,
Yeah.
because of it. I mean, she's so aware, she's so just diligent. And
Yeah, and now that you said that, teacher, I recognize that is probably one of the most common traits and strengths that people that are more dominant ox, as far as strength and personality, that they will end up like in a teaching
yeah,
like position or some kind of engineer of some sort. I know Dad had that in his background too. He had his was it master's degree in engineering, and then yeah, he was an amazing teacher. And he used to teach even
Reiki.
Reiki and stuff. Yep, his master Reiki, and it's interesting. I see that in Jesse as well, Kaufman. With his strengths being
Yeah, it's the
he's a teacher as well, amazing teacher.
there's the study and
Yeah,
the desire to educate people, to because they do so much research, and
yeah.
right. I mean,
And so it is a gift. And I think it's even that planning, how we understand the ox is good at planning. That's one thing that always too. Jesse will have a good schedule, and Dad did too. Dad, had a schedule. If he wasn't, it was always funny because we knew. I was like, there was a certain time Dad would always come into the house. If he didn't, I'd be like, "What's going on?" And 100% of the time, it would be something came up. Like I remember one morning I went over like, "Dad, you okay?" It's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm trying to fix this email on my computer," and he would get stuck just trying to fix it for an hour or two. And it's not like it was wrong that he did watering the cows and taking care of the animals 2 hours later. That didn't matter. But he was always so scheduled that you knew, wait, where's Dad? Is everything okay? And sure enough, there'd be something that he was trying to fix or something that, he had to take care of before he could start the chores that, he got into and started
and
working
he would be so frustrated
on. Oh,
about it
yeah. Oh,
because
yeah.
it threw him off.
Yeah. The routine had to be
Yeah.
take him off that routine. But he was, that's what I'm saying. It's like, this is the beauty of balance and embracing and knowing your identity, but then knowing too the balance of the other strengths and the other personalities too, and allowing that in your life to come forth and being willing. There was times like Dad was spontaneous and fun. Like he would do crazy stuff, and like going to volleyball tournaments with us, traveling, and then even I remember taking him for his birthday. He was into Bigfoot. I discovered that about him, and man, we traveled almost 2 hours to go to a Bigfoot museum here in Georgia. It's on like the border of Georgia and Tennessee, and I had found that place, and I knew Bigfoot. He was a big fan of Bigfoot. We've got some cool pictures and videos of it. The exhibit was like you could walk through it in 10 minutes. We made it longer. We probably went through it, took our time, read lots of stuff, watched some videos inside the exhibit, and it was like an hour long. But
That was, you had Jay and Todd.
yeah, Todd was here during that time.
So it was, two of my sister's husbands and then Carlos.
So the three
all of his
son-in-laws
son-in-laws.
took him to go see Bigfoot to the Bigfoot Museum. It was awesome. It was cool to be able to do that, just learning what he liked, and then he really enjoyed it. I remember being there and just watching him and sitting with him and being present. Dang. It was for him. That was cool. It was fun. He was all into it. I mean, yeah, he'd read a lot of stuff on that, and he was really intrigued by it. I'm sure
He would watch all kinds of shows,
documentaries, yeah, about how Bigfoot, and Sasquatch, and the Yeti, and like, man, he knew all the different names. But there was the one area of life that there's nobody that I think knows more about turtles than that man on the planet. Like, I think he missed his calling. He should have been a turtle like ologist or whatever that would be, because
well, he was a member of the Turtle Society in
Yep.
California. I mean, he did a lot of things for preservation, and
Yep.
he would actually dig up their eggs
Yep.
and incubate them, and then release them back out.
Yeah, and
so that they had a better chance of survival.
That was another thing I got to experience, and I'm super grateful. You know, the one thing that is documenting stuff through video and pictures, and I got video of that too, where I got the opportunity of going out with Dad and releasing turtles. He had found a turtle nest here, and he developed the eggs, and again, he says, well, I want to help them survive. I want to give them a better chance so no predators eat the eggs, you know. It was all about, and so we had this little cool thing I videoed where those turtles, little baby turtles, we took them out, released them into the creek, and released them out into the reservoir here on the property. And Dad and I took a little canoe out there and released them. And it was so much fun. It was so super cool. He was telling me all about how to release them and what they would do, and it was just cool. It was a really cool experience for me, and to document that. And same thing, even I got a video and picture of Dad talking about the eclipse that happened. You know, and I did that together too. Went out and put on those crazy glasses, and he's sitting there telling me a whole story. He didn't know he's being videoed, even though I was videoing him as he's telling me the story about a lunar eclipse. So lots of cool opportunities with Dad. I know that we miss him a lot, but I think for me, that's the one thing too, the big takeaway of relationship is those that you value and making time for. You can truly, I don't feel any regret. That's what I mean. Like, I don't feel like, oh, we could have done this more or that more. No, we were committed and spent good quality time with Dad and got to know him really well. And got a lot of memories with him. Again, that's always my heart, is to find out those relationships and those friends like the ox, like Dad, strengthening that in myself. And again, being committed and consistent to the relationship. That's why we committed one night a week to them living on the property here. And people would say, well, Mom and Dad live next door, or maybe you have a relative or family member that lives with you. Well, unless you empower the strength of the ox and consistently have some kind of meeting point or connection time, you will just get used to them being there, and you don't have purposeful time. And it's funny how meeting with Mom and Dad on those Tuesdays, they would often say, like, you guys are so busy. You don't need to be meeting with us. You don't need to have dinner with us. We're just, we're here. We're going to be here. And it's like, no, this is important to us. And it was like, we want to be consistent, and it is interesting how Dad was really like got used to that and knew the day and time and was committed to it with us. Excuse you, goodness, I just burped. A dog burped in my face. So anyways, but that was the empowerment of the ox to say, okay, I'm going to have a consistent time with Mom and Dad because they live on the property, and we don't want to just be like ships passing each other in the past. We want to be committed and build that relationship. Date night for you and I, we're consistent with that, right? That's the ox trait and strength, that, hey, I want to have a consistent appointment to prove it's that quality time, and creating those opportunities to have quality time and having standing appointments. I often say this, and it's an ox trait and an ox mindset that literally says this, but if you show me your standing appointments, I can tell you your standards, and I can predict your future based on what your appointments are and your habits and your routines. We all have them. It's just a matter of identifying them or not. And even our date night with our kids, our daughter, and making sure we have quality time with them. Just standing appointments, monthly, weekly, yearly, whatever it is, it's very, very powerful. And like I said, the one thing that I'm super duper grateful for is Tuesday nights that we had with mom and dad, because I have no regrets because of that. I have plenty of video and pictures with dad. And as a matter of fact, he passed doing what he loved, which was blessing us and trying to help us with the property, you know. So the ox.
Yeah. I miss him.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. And during this holiday season, I often ask, what are your traditions or what are your habits for holiday seasons? It's good to have those. It's good to have family traditions. It's good to have, like for us, it is going to Mexico. Mateo, our son, has stories of that. Hazel has stories of that. When we lived in California, even recently, I think it was 2 years ago or last year. When was it when Hazel went? 2 years ago. She worked with the boys volleyball. Even though Hazel doesn't speak Spanish, you can show them how to do volleyball. And she was working with them and showing them. It was last year, yeah. It was cool, like a little miniature
Clinic.
with the boys there at the orphanage. Hazel did with them, and it was really cool to watch. And we got lots of pictures and videos of that. But what I'm saying,
past, it was Mateo playing basketball or with them.
I got to play a little soccer last year too.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying about routines and habits. It's the mindset of the ox that says, I want to create something that will be forever, or be something that will be legacy, something that my family, my children will do, and my great grandchildren. And that's what the orphanage has been for us. And same thing with Thanksgiving. We have that. Chantel and I have, for the last few years, especially being here in Georgia now, we've definitely set that aside. It's one of the first things to go on the calendar. By the way, that's what standing appointments are. Put something on the calendar. We have standing appointments for our business. We have standing appointments for our relationships. We have standing appointments for our marriage, standing appointments for anniversaries, right? Birthdays. And we try to do activities, special activities for those standing appointments. But that is the strength of the ox. The ox, the father, even the ox coming out in a mother. That's my mother ox, the ox in my mother coming out when she's asking, hey, for Thanksgiving, can you set that aside and make that? I love having my kids together on Thanksgiving and spending that family time together. Would you be willing? And Chantel and I have. So like every year, it's one of the first things to go on the calendar. I have it on my 2026 calendar. It's Thanksgiving, November, Thanksgiving, knowing that that's the time that I'm going to be with my mom and the family and whoever else. Sometimes it's in her neck of the woods in Tennessee or Chattanooga. Sometimes it's here. This year it was in Georgia at the ranch. And this year it was cool to have my brother, Jesse Campos, and Jess, his wife, and his girls show up here in Georgia. Like, I'd love for that to be a family tradition. Let's all go out to Uncle Carlos or Carlos and Chantel's home and ranch in Georgia. Like, I love that. Hey, every Thanksgiving they come here. I would love that. Like, that would be like, oh, that would be the ultimate, like, yes, tradition. So I want to encourage you. What are your holiday traditions? I realized even, we haven't put up a tree in often for Christmas, but I was like, let's celebrate. Let's celebrate and get festive this year. Again, we have all kinds of beliefs and things that we've discovered over the years, but what matters is the holiday and the festive spirit for us, about loving and giving, and the tree that represents joy for mom and for Hazel, and we enjoy it. I enjoy it. Hey, I enjoy it. And I realized too, we even bought some gifts this year. We haven't done that in years. And it's fun. It's like that feeling of like, oh, can I give? And I really felt it. And when we were out with our church and I was volunteering, Chantel's under the weather, so she didn't make it out there. But I went out there and was there for our Church of the Grove does this every year. They've done it for like 15 years or 20 years or something like that. But it's
Shop with the Hero.
Shop with the Hero. And they give the children $150 budget to go into Walmart and shop with a hero. And I love that. That's
Hero meaning like a first responder,
Yep.
Officer,
Fire firemen,
Yeah,
of
fire,
any kind of like,
paramedic, all of
yep.
any of the first responders, right?
And so again, what I'm saying, why I'm bringing this up is that it's a tradition for the church now to do that. And it blesses the community, blesses a lot of children. And a lot of those children go in there and they have a list of gifts that they buy for their family. And so it's really powerful. Traditions, habits, routines, family. What are you doing this year? I'd love to comment in the chat. And another thing I'd like to call you out on is to make it a tradition and a habit to give. We have an orphanage we give to every year, and we've been talking about it. I'm going to be going live from that orphanage while I'm traveling there, and while I'm there, so you can see it live and in person, see the needs, and see the youth that they're taking care of, the boys. And so, would you make that a habit that you could do it monthly, you could do it weekly, you can do it yearly, but would you be willing to give to the orphanage? And I've got a video I'm going to place in the comments underneath this video on YouTube and Facebook. Watch the video. It's 4 minutes long. We created it several years ago, 2018 or something like that, where we created it to tell you a little the story behind the orphanage, how it was created, and about Choyeta and Lupe, the couple that runs that. And also, the other thing that we did is we also created a PayPal account that goes direct to their account. No middleman, straight to them, to their needs. So I'm going to ask that you give. Would you give? Would you even $20, $50? Any little bit amount helps. We are running a campaign this week for the holiday while I'm there. $10,000 is our goal. So we can get a laundry room built for them, make improvements in their kitchen, like things that they need, plus cover bills and things that they have, medical and all kinds of stuff. I'll show you the list when I get there. And and so far we have $2,000 allocated and designated for that. We also have a matching going where they'll match funds of people that give. So would you give and then let us know how much you're giving? Give directly to PayPal, through PayPal. I'll put that link in as well. But let us know. It's a campaign and we want to see them be blessed. So I'm asking you to be a part of that too and make it a routine that you can know and see and know that we know them. We've been going there for 11 years. Their hearts are amazing. They give and help so many of these boys to learn English because it's in Mexico and to get educated and then continue education as well. It's really powerful. So please give. Make that a part of your routines and habits. God bless you and go bless and love on an ox. That ox personality, that ox strength, and know that it's necessary. It may seem strange to you, but it's so necessary and it's so good and so blessed that we have that in us and we strengthen that in us. All right.
Awesome.
God bless you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
See you on the next live.